Okay, guys, so we've sealed. This is the look now where we're at the next day, actually, after sealing. And as you can see, when I say with the tester's Dolco, when I say it melts paint, I don't mean like it drips it right off. But as you can tell, look how everything is starting to tie together. You can see the different gradients into the skin, as well as our shadows are preserved, our highlights are preserved, and basically all of the textures, excuse me, on the skin, you can see them. So I'm very satisfied with this. As I said before in the tutorial, if you're good up to this point and you just want to say, you know what, thanks, that's good enough for me, then boom, this is perfect. You can go ahead and do your eyes on whatever statue you're painting, do your actual, you know, eyebrows, hair, trim, or whatever, and you're good to go. Like I said, we're going to go to the next level with this. So, moving forward, what I've done is I've pre-mixed all of the colors for what I'm going to do, the speckling technique, which is more of a hyper-realistic look, which is like what I was trying to go for with this particular piece. So, I've used FW inks. These are actual acrylic inks as opposed to acrylic paint. So for these particular inks, they're very pigmented. This is the actual company, Daler and Ronnie FW inks. So very good product. Basically, I cut these FW inks with 70% isopropyl alcohol. I don't go higher than that because as you spray it out of the gun, the particles tends to dry in the air before it hits the actual product, the statue that you're doing, and the desire, it's not a desirable look. So go ahead and cut it with isopropyl alcohol for the FW inks. That's not a problem. For the actual acrylic paint, um, like I said, I use a mixture of half denatured alcohol to half water, 50-50, and I dilute the acrylic paints using that. And that preserves the paint. It doesn't make it clumpy or make it, break into little particles. So that's good. So with the FW inks, as you can see, they're very watery, but they're highly pigmented. But I want this transparent as possible. See how it comes up and it barely coats the actual the little solo cup there, right up on the side and comes back down. That's what we're looking for because this is going to simulate little blood capillaries and stuff on the skin. Same thing with the blue, very light, and that's just going to cool down the actual color. It's going to make it more look like of a cool theme as opposed to, imagine if everything is so red, he's going to look like he's heating up. You know what I mean? You don't want that look. So the blue's kind of like going to neutralize it. And then this actual raw umber is going to fit in for the whole overall tie-in. I may even dilute this more. It looks a little thick coming up on the sides there. I want it to be very, very transparent. And then what we have on the top is just our base color, but this has been very thinned out as well. And that's going to use as an overall spray to then break up all of the other patterns. So this could be all under the skin and give it that real hyper realistic look. May have to come back and regain some shadows, but we'll use the raw umber for that. Or our rosy color that we had, we'll thin it down and we'll work with that as well. Okay, so I've been playing around with the speckling over here on the side. You got to take your airbrush down very, very low to when you're getting a spatter like this here. You don't want, you see that? That's because I'm playing with the actual pull. The more I let it just speckle, those are a little too big. So you want to let it build up, and then as you can see, this is what we want. So we're going to put that over the Kylo at this point. I don't know if you can see, but the skin is starting to break up. I hope the camera can pick it up. Especially on the bridge of the nose there, you can kind of like pick it up. And that is what's going to give it the human look that we're trying to achieve. All right, next up is going to be the blue. Now the blue is a harder color, so we're going to be very, very sparing with this. This is just a little something to add to the depth of the skin tone. Nothing too exaggerated. Blue. So I just want the blue to barely be noticeable, but you can see some of it in the undertone. All right, now brown. Very hard color. Be very, very careful with this. Do not overdo it. And have your Q-tip ready, as you see mine there, because you do not want big speckles with this one. This is what we look like with the brown. Now we're gonna come back with the skin tone color and knock all of this back down to the background. But we're not gonna mist it over. We're gonna do the same speckling technique so that it kind of like patterns this out and you don't have this overbearing look of dots everywhere, okay? All right, we're gonna give it a shot now with the skin tone color loaded into the cup. I really hope that this camera is picking this up as good as I can see it in person. We're gonna keep tweaking. It's not done. It looks a little real specky, if I may say so. But we're gonna seal this and then we're gonna come back and see what testers did in knocking everything down and pretty much meshing everything together. Then we'll see exactly where we're at and where we need to tweak. But as you see where we were before, to just a regular skin tone, as to now, you can see the real kind of like human element that I'm trying to go for in the skin. Let's seal this and see what else we may need to do. All right, next day, looking like the dull coat did a nice job of meshing everything together. Skin looks very very speckly still. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna knock it back down a little bit. And if I need to, obviously come on in here and regain some shadows, because you can see some of the lighter specks are in the shadow areas, and that's what we don't want. So let's go in with another round of the skin-based tone and just knock it down. I'm not really liking how it's really overly pigmented there on the bridge of the nose and in some other areas. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit of knocking down some of this extra speckles. Let's regain some shadows again. Before I go red, I'm gonna do a little speckling of this color. Kind of like it. let's do some detailing now that we have, you know, this color already mixed. Like I said, remember I said I see some lines here along the side, and we'll just come in and pick out some little areas where we could go in with this color, which is, as you can see it, it's like the rosy color, but I just really watered it down, you know. So let's see what we can do. Building, building, and building. See the crease now? You can see it, but you don't wanna overdo it because you just wanna accentuate that it's there. So we'll keep building. All right, let's move into the detailing phase now. We've worked on the scar a little bit off camera, just to intensify it some. Now I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna paint the actual eyes and at least the sclera so that we can see a difference in the skin tone. And now when they put the eyes in, let's see how that pops off. Then we'll do the lips. So I've mixed a color that's not a pure white. It's just a little bit off. Just a tad bit off white. More towards the gray side. I don't really like to do just straight white eyeballs. To me, is not, you know, not natural to have just pure white. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some and I'm gonna put it onto this little cap here, because what we wanna do is make sure that it's real thin so that we can build it up in layers. We don't want glob, you know, nothing globby. So we're gonna keep building and cleaning up, especially around the inside there. But now you can see how the skin tone really is gonna fall into place when you have a contrasting color. Now we're getting there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start to do the lips. So we're gonna come in with this pinkish rosy color. We're gonna apply it to the lips and we're gonna just build on that. So we'll start slow with this. All right, right now they look a little orangey, but we're gonna keep, like I said, working on this and bringing them up how they're supposed to be. So I shifted the color to a more red or more rosy by adding red to it. All right, so after a couple layers of the rosy color, it looks like he is wearing lipstick. Don't worry. Like I said, you know, we got our base layers. Now we're going to start to knock this back down by adding some of the skin tone color to the rosy color and just coming and doing some little raised areas, because you can see he has striations in his lips. He's got some striations. So we're going to take care of that, tone it down some, and then come in and do all the details and he'll fall into place. Okay guys, you see what we're going for here? How it's starting to fall in now. So we're gonna continue to go Once we do the darker line, which goes in the middle, and continue to do some of the highlights now on the lips, it's gonna fall into place real nice. All right, guys. I think we're very close. That's it. The lips, I did the line off camera, and I think it flows well. Remember where we started? It was like a real orange, but we're building layers, making sure we're picking out our highlights on the lips. And the scar, I looked at the reference picture, and it looks like it has like some charred areas in it. So I had to intensify it in certain areas. When I put the gloss in it, it'll look fresh. But at the same time, you know, I think it's supposed to have the char in it because it's supposed to be like if the saber just cut into the skin, so it's charring it up at the same time. But I think we've done a lot in this little segment, so I am going to yet again seal and see how all of this falls back, and we'll move on. If we need to continue to pick at it, we will. All right, guys. I'm gonna move on to the moles that he has on his face and the eyeballs now. So he has various moles on his face. As you can see, they're raised there, some back there. You can see them on his face. So we're gonna come in and we're going to use this color here, and we're gonna just, it's thinned, it's settled at the bottom, but the top is thin. We'll mix it up real well. With a brush, we'll just come and do the accentuations on the moles. All right, so the moles are in. Um, I need to seal this and then come in with maybe another layer on some of the moles if they fade out with the dull coat. But right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna take care of the tear ducts in the eyes, and I'm gonna line the inner lower part of the eye here, and then we'll basically come in, we'll seal, and then we'll do the pupil, the iris, and then we'll trim the eye, and then we'll see how the face looks after that.